Hello and welcome back to the Long War 2. Last time we did a very dangerous mission trying to liberate New India. It was difficult and we ultimately failed, which almost puts an end to the campaign. But now we're going to use our secret weapon to try and start making a comeback. I'm going to go elsewhere in the world to do the lower difficulty missions with our few surviving operatives and somehow try to cling on to the hope of liberating the entire world. We've invented the exosuit, which will help us out, although we only have one. We don't actually have the resources to make these or any of the weapons upgrades and everything. Basically, we have quite a lot of decent tech, we just can't use it. And here's an opportunity to change that. A mission to grab some resources, going to go on that. And as mentioned previously, we're going on missions only in the easy areas now to make things easier for us. 2 dark events happen there, and the first one's actually quite important, something that reduces our intelligence gathering. And from this point on, we're going to see many fewer missions. Whatever that dark event is, it has a massive impact on intelligence gathering. Basically, missions just stopped coming up after this point, so it's just going to be the odd one and will very rapidly progress through the campaign, as you'll see. And we went on this mission to get the supplies, with nothing else happening before it started, and encountered 2 sectoids right away. A snipe and a grenade kills the first one. Doing that the other way round would have been better because we wouldn't have destroyed the loot, but whatever. As for the second one, he takes a shot at Darius here. He gets hit in heavy cover, some more classic bad luck for us. Plus, Darius has a will stat of 0, meaning if anything happens he panics, making him incredibly useless. It's because he has the shaken trait. He needs to not get hit or something in a mission in order to get rid of that. So he sits there being panicked. Belisarius does some of the damage to the sectoid. Nuke runs up to finish him off, but this draws in 2 new enemies. However, we're seeing that now we're back on the extremely light difficulty for fighting in an area where Advent don't have strength. Things just aren't that bad. If you accidentally trigger another pod, it's not like 7 guys attack you, it's just 2 and they're not that powerful. Although actually 1 was a stun lancer, and that's always a problem because of things like this. It runs through 2 Overwatch shots, taking only 1 damage, gets up to Darius and knocks him unconscious with the attack through the wall. So, while he wasn't really contributing anything to the mission, now he's going to be doing even less. Those 2 enemies are easily killed, and we move on into the building where there was a sectoid and a viper inside the area where all the resources are being kept. Nabuna was the star of the show here. She ran up, getting poisoned by a cloud the viper had put down, and sworded up the sectoid, then in the next turn sworded up the viper, or the nudger it actually is, a different kind of viper. This left only 2 enemies at the back of the building, and I sent in the shotgunners to deal with this. 2 run and guns allows us to go up and blast these 2 guys, point blank range, down they go. With that, the building was secure and we can steal all the resources at our leisure and get out of there, carrying Darius with us as well to get him back. So overall, a nice mission, not quite perfect, but still pretty good stuff. Once the difficulty's low, it's still perfectly possible to play the campaign at this stage, even though we're probably quite far behind, who knows. Now that we have some resources, we can start actually getting weapons and stuff, and because our team is now very small, we can technically catch up with the equipment very fast, because after we've bought like 4 extra rifles, we're back to where we're meant to be. The next month comes to an end, and the Illuminati are unhappy with our performance. We're doing quite badly apparently, but I guess I knew that already. We sit around doing nothing for a bit, and then we complete the invention of magnetic weapons. So we've got the upgrade to laser weapons pretty much just as we finished getting all the laser weapons, so now we have to buy a bunch of other stuff. Still, it's worth it in theory. It costs more than laser weapons, so for new people coming in with no upgrades, skipping right to magnetic will be good value for money. Then up comes this mission. It's a nice one where we can get a ranked up operative as a reward, and it's got a really long infiltration time, so we can go in and make it nice and easy. So we're going on that with pretty much all of our guys. I also invent advanced laser weapons. Now we can get the upgrades to sniper rifles, shotguns, and the heavy machine guns, so that will be useful eventually. Then another dark event comes in, also limiting our intelligence. And as you might be able to tell if you're paying very close attention, we've just passed through most of the current month in the last 30 seconds of this video. Missions have just stopped coming up. This one came up right here, but I don't have any people to send on it as it turns out, so we're going to stick to just 1 mission at a time basically, until the squad gets a bit bigger. So here we are. The next thing to happen is that mission with the long infiltration becoming available. We had a long time limit for this mission, so I took my time just setting up on a roof across the road from the building we're going towards. Then we get things started with this precision shot from Wilmer, a shot that has a very high chance to crit, and we get the crit, allowing us to kill a mech that's in between us and the target in one hit, so that's a great start. There was also a trooper hiding behind the mech. He comes out for a fight, but he doesn't last very long. We just shot at him from our high positions, giving us the bonus accuracy to overcome his cover, and got the kill that way. Then as I was moving towards the building, we discovered two more enemies on the right, and this was particularly annoying because Bernice there just moved into cover that's exposed with regard to those two enemies, and indeed one of them does fire at her in the end turn, doing a ton of damage. Not very nice, but now luck is back on our side. I take a snipe with Belisarius against one of the enemies in heavy cover and get the hit and the kill in fact. Then Wilmer does the same thing, this time it's not enough damage for a kill. But good stuff, luck seems to be happening right now. We've got some AI tier luck with these heavy cover attacks. Anyway, the remaining guy runs forward and then this happens. You can see I moved Bernice away from the combat, but I moved her to a position that was still outflanked with respect to those enemies. She got shot again and got critical, then nearly died. I don't really know what I was doing there. It was pretty bad moves from me, so I think I've been quite rightly punished by the enemy. We can easily kill that last guy with a run and gun, and that's that. Then I move towards the building we need to get into, and there are two more enemies inside. The fight starts well, a bit of an overwatch from Napoleon grazes one enemy, so he's on half health. One enemy came over to the right side of this building, and ended up having an outflanking shot with nuke, but we're really far away. Decided to just take it anyway, and even though it's a low chance to hit, we did hit, and we crit as well, which killed that guy instantly. Don't think we needed to crit to kill him, but still, it's another example of really good luck. Then, more luck, I threw a grenade in, and it gets the rare grenade critical on the enemy. You have to have a certain perk to be able to crit with a grenade, and I think Alexandria does have it, so there we go. But still, that ended the mission quickly, there were no more enemies, we secured the VIP, giving us another party member, another operative, and all in all, a good mission. It was also a find the lead mission, and the lead we get from this is a thing that gives us an extra resistance contact. Now that's pretty good, because normally you have to build a room in the Avenger to get an extra contact, and that's a big deal. So just randomly getting one for free like this is handy. We don't have the intel to actually make a new base, but the idea is there. There's an example of some of the rubbish missions that come up. With our low intel gathering ability, lots of the missions don't have any time to infiltrate, so we just effectively can't do them. And as we sit around waiting for something to happen, nothing else happens, and we end up making it to the end of the next month. The nice thing is, even though we only did one mission that month, because that mission went well, it seems to all average out, and the Illuminati says, well, you must have done well overall, even though actually we didn't do anything at all. Which in this game is bad, because there are invisible time limits. You can just randomly lose the game after a while. Hopefully that won't happen, we'll see. So I spent a lot of time just doing nothing really. I sold loads of stuff at the black market to get supplies. Initially it was to gear up our team, but I realized we're actually pretty close to moving forward with the story. If I can get some more power, which is currently on the way, I'll be able to make the Shadow Chamber, which moves us towards actually finding alien bases and taking them down. Before any of that though, I was getting tired of not having any missions to go on. All the missions were just undoable. So I eventually came back to the Liberation mission. It's still there waiting for us to do it. The baseline difficulty is moderate, so it's no easier than it was before. However, our team is a bit stronger now once I switch these guys out and put in the most powerful team. And we can go to 200% infiltration because there's no limit on how long we can infiltrate for, and that has the chance to bring difficulty down as well. So I am going to send 5 guys out to just sit there and wait on that one. We'll come back to it much later to see if we can do anything with that. In the meantime, we still have like 5 or so guys left after getting you guys from these missions where we rescue people, and I think I bought like 2 operatives from the black market to get a second squad going, or maybe somebody was trained up somewhere. Anyway, we've ended up with another squad, so I am going to go on another mission, and this actually is a mission to get another squad member, so that's what we like to see. So there we go, we can put out a squad of 5 relatively able members with mixed quality equipment and see what they can do. While waiting for that mission, we invented advanced magnetic weaponry. Now we can upgrade our sniper rifles, machine guns and shotguns even further. Didn't even get the laser upgrade in most cases. And then the power relay room was completed, allowing us to begin the slow construction of the Shadow Chamber. So we are actually making progress in the game right here, believe it or not. Then the mission to rescue this new sergeant comes up, so let's take a look. I wanted to use our concealment to get on top of this building here that you can see I'm halfway up, but things were ruined when these drones came over and started looking at us. So going to kick things off with the debut action of Bootleg D, the replacement for Offie D, and she absolutely screws it up. She gets a hit on the drone, but with only grazing damage, it survives. Not really a big deal, someone else just kills it eventually and we move on. And more interestingly, there is a gunner and a mech hanging out in the ground floor, on the ground floor of the building I'm currently climbing up, so now we'll fight them. Bootleg D has great line of sight on the mech down there with a 100% chance to hit, and we can take off most of its health with this attack as well. What I should have done actually is throw a grenade first. What I ended up doing is throwing a grenade after I'd already shot it to remove its armor, but if I threw the grenade first, that shot from Bootleg D would have done more damage. Another example of doing things in the wrong order. It doesn't really matter in this case because I just finished things off with another grenade from the new XCOM best waifu, Alfrin the Great, who is a grenadier class, basically my replacement for Tilly the Honey, and yes, she gets the kill, leaving just the gunner active. He runs away, however now we start getting XCOM'd just a little bit. There was another drone alive earlier that ran off and got damaged by Overwatch, and there it is again, and it seems to come back over to the fight with 2 Vipers. Luckily some Overwatch deals with the drone. Then another pod appears. If we'd been playing on the higher difficulty, or I should say if it was a mission of high difficulty, that would certainly go from fighting 1 enemy to 10 and it would be over. But on the minimum difficulty, you can deal with encountering 2 pods by accident like that. It's only 5 enemies and we've got a chance to fight back. Alfred goes out on the left to outflank one of the snakes, but the damage is bad, so that doesn't achieve all that much. However, Napoleon is here for the save. I take this 60% shot and get it with enough damage to finish the snake off, the Sidewinder I think it was. So good stuff from then. Meanwhile, Bootleg D just sits on Overwatch since she is surrounded by enemies and immediately it triggers. However, it's a grazing damage attack, so we don't get the kill on that guy. He shoots back with a machine gun of his own. Luckily, Bootleg D is in heavy cover there, so decent chance for that not to do anything, and it doesn't. This snake starts moving up and hits Napoleon, who's now on the ground floor, but I think he is immune to that poison attack, so it doesn't do anything. Not sure why he's immune. Another enemy is moving outside the building on our right and cheekily gets some damage on Bootleg D, but he is now in a position that's easy to outflank if we just go out the right side of the building. Some more shooting comes in, and this time it's area suppression on Bootleg D. To deal with that, I used Napoleon's Shredder Gun ability, something he gets because he's wearing our 1 exoskeleton. This attack is area of effect, and I think it ignores cover as well, because I just shoot in the direction of those 2 enemies. It kills one, damages the other, and also gets rid of the suppression, so that's good. Back on the left, Alfred shoots a grenade at the other snake, doing a bit of damage. Then Belisarius does a very XCOM style shot through 2 walls and against an enemy in heavy cover and somehow gets the kill, so that went extremely well. The luck is happening more and more. Then Bootleg D goes out onto the right and gets that outflanking shot I mentioned, absolutely annihilating the guy who's creeping up on the right. However, that does put her in inferior cover now, that's only half cover, and it is the alien's turn, and you might be able to guess why I mentioned that specifically, because it immediately becomes relevant. This enemy moves up and shoots and almost kills Bootleg D. She survives with 1 health, with the enemy's damage roll, I guess, being the deciding factor there. So she's going to run for it. Napoleon can just finish off that guy by moving into the building and getting the outflank. And that's the mission, that was all the enemies, so now we just go rescue someone from a van, and away we go with a new operative to use once I've customized them, etc. Another good mission. It was also a find the lead mission, just like the rescue we did earlier, and the lead we got was an engineer. Not bad, although we don't really need engineers anymore. We've got like 4 or 5, and that's enough to build things. Later on we can staff them in buildings to get some use out of them, but I just don't need to do that right now. Anyway, another mission came up. It's another find the lead mission. Nothing interesting, but we might as well do it because we're probably not going to get anything else to do. And eventually we might even get a liberation mission for Eastern Asia if we keep finding these leads. So the squad that just came in will go right back out to go and take a look at that. But first, we are going to look at the liberation mission over in New India, and disappointingly, even after I got to 200% infiltration, the difficulty did not go below moderate, its difficulty at 100% infiltration. So that sucks, and I thought maybe I'll just abort the mission, but then I thought no, I'll go down and just look at it very cautiously, because even if we start the mission, just kill some enemies and leave, that's still a gain because you get experience, and we're already here so we might as well do it, there's no loss. I set up in a position similar to where we were the last time we tried this mission. We're across a little bridge from the hack room, and we've encountered plenty of enemies who are just wandering around. Now, I wanted to start this engagement by shooting at a barrel. The group of enemies that's on the right there is standing next to an explosive barrel. Nuke can see it, and you always have a 100% chance to hit a barrel, so I was going to start things off with that. However, I ended up just taking a random shot at the first guy on the target list. I think this is because the button to bring up the target list is space, and if you press space again, that's confirming the shot. So my slam of the space bar was counted as 2 presses. Therefore, we've completely messed that up, and we've missed our opportunity to start this off well. Still, might as well start fighting. We need to get that evac point in right now, because I don't think there's any disadvantage to just calling the evac at the start of the mission and having it there so we can leave whenever we want. That's something we should have done the last time we did this mission, so playing it safer now. I fire a rocket towards the group of enemies and kill one of them, seriously damaging another. Another grenade goes out to kill another one. Basically, we're just going to kill as many guys as we can, and if we run out of grenades or run out of health, then we can just get out of here at any time. We are, though, playing a moderate enemy activity mission. That means enemies will just keep coming in all over the place, and we're soon going to be overwhelmed. And it starts off right now with 5 or so enemies appearing on our right, with 2 moving to a position that sort of outflanks the extraction point, which will prove to be annoying, and there are 3 enemies coming from in front of us. Wick takes a shot and absolutely annihilates a drone with massive overkill. Thanks for that. Otherwise, I was mostly shuffling away, and I threw 2 flashbangs out to disorient most of the enemies out there, ready for them not be able to advance very far in their turn, meaning if I turned and ran away, I might be able to get out of their range, spend 1 turn in safety, and then by that point everyone should be able to extract. However, there's this forgotten enemy that comes out of the shadowy part I can't see just to the left of the building, and actually very luckily for us only does 1 damage to Nabuna. That could have been a crit and maybe even a kill. Some more shooting comes in from a distant location against Nuke. That first shot's a nice miss. This second shot annoyingly is a hit even with the enemy debuffed, so that's unfortunate, but it's only armor damage, so no wound will come of that. Lots of the enemies are overwatching right now, which is a bit of an issue for our next turn because we're going to want to be running away. So now there's a lot of danger that we'll be shot to pieces as we run. This wasn't really the main thing that informed my next decision. That was me looking around and thinking, you know what, there aren't that many enemies right here. We actually could hack our way through these guys, and we are relatively close to the hack room, allowing us to complete the mission, which will just kill everything else. So I decided to not pull out right now and keep going. Nuke makes a massive run across the top of the roof, which triggers all of the overwatch. I was doing that confidently thinking, they'll all just miss because he has lightning reflexes as a perk, but I remembered that lightning reflexes only makes 1 overwatch miss, and the rest just have a slightly decreased chance of hitting or something, so he was lucky to get away without damage, and as we saw he killed an enemy. Wick up by the extraction point shoots down and kills another for us. Sao Susan shoots forwards and hits one of the 2 enemies on the bridge that we need to cross, doing only grazing damage, which is a shame. And now my power move, Alexandra, moves forward into flamethrower range of those 2 guys, but unfortunately she discovers a turret on top of the door we need to go through, and like in the last mission, that turret's going to have range over the whole map, so now that we've aggroed it and turned it on, it's going to be a problem. Still, I came here to shoot the flamethrower, and that is what I'm going to do. We can hit these 2 enemies at once, and it puts fire everywhere, so now they can't really escape without walking into the fire again. Even if the fire goes out, they might just get it again, and overall, that's an okay little trap. It's going to immediately damage one of them and kill the other one who just about survived the initial flame throwing. The flames are actually a bit annoying for us because we do need to cross that bridge. However, we're not going to be crossing it right away since, as we can see, more enemies are coming in and the moderate difficulty effect is being moderately annoying. Another pod comes from where that pod came from earlier, so we're just still stuck where we are fighting. Wick comes down to get better line of sight on these new enemies. And actually, we don't really need it because we're just going to shoot at the barrel, which has a 100% chance to hit and 100% chance to damage a bunch of stuff. we kill a Viper, I think, and damage a sectoid, or maybe another sectoid. Yeah, 2 sectoids. So the barrel came in useful, didn't absolutely wipe them out or anything, but that's more damage than we would have got just shooting at stuff. The officer that was near Alexandra came really close to her into the smoke and then gets destroyed by a nuke, similar to the use of the smoke we saw previously with Alexandra. Now I started making my move to go for the hack. I thought I'll put Nobuna in this corner on hunker down, so she probably won't get hit and then can sprint across the bridge to go for the hack next time. But it turns out there's a big pod of enemies in the building, plus there's the turret to deal with. Seeing that, I was like, this is the moment. This is when we leave, because if we keep trying, things are just going to get worse. At any second, enemies will probably just teleport down on top of us. You know the drill, with moderate difficulty. Even light moderate difficulty does that to you. So we're getting out of here. We have one turn though of fighting retreat, because I don't want to move back from where Nobuna ended up at the end of that turn. Alexandra gets a kill on an enemy sectoid, and now we do give the enemy another turn to act against us. This outflanking guy on the right proves to be annoying because he gets critical damage onto Cao Susan, who's up by the extraction point. Very nasty, but perhaps more annoying is this. A sectoid panics John Wick. Now we can't extract next turn because John Wick won't be able to leave. That is if we want to leave with John Wick, which we do. Cao Susan gets revenge on the guy who shot her, so that's something. And then everyone else just started moving back in our turn and trying to stay in cover. The enemy started their reinforcement shenanigans. Just 3 guys dropped down onto the building. That's not so bad to start with, because in this case we can just run away. They can't go into Overwatch or anything, we'll get out of there. Annoyingly though, this drone from downstairs shot up and hit Nobuna, doing a decent amount of damage for a drone laser and disorienting her. Then she gets critically hit by the turret, that annoying turret thing with its infinite range. Luckily she actually survives. The question now was, could she still escape despite the movement debuff from disorientation? The answer luckily was yes, so we go for it. John Wick, as he falls back, does take some damage from Overwatch, so that means he'll now be wounded after this mission, which is just annoying. Everyone else gets away, and we're out of there with no deaths, but some annoying wounds. So there we go, we did not complete the mission, it's a failure, but technically, as I mentioned, we got something because we grabbed some experience doing that, and probably a few items as well, I don't remember. The wounds are the annoying thing though, that's what we paid for that, especially having Nobuna be out for a while. Although with the missions coming very scarcely at the moment, wounds matter less. We did get a mission come up right after that one, which was to go and steal some resources with great infiltration time. That's what we like to see, and it's what we need to get new equipment, so we'll go on that. The Find a Lead mission that we set up earlier comes up first, so we'll look at that at the start of the next part. What we want to do is draw enemy strength away from New India to reduce the minimum difficulty of the Liberation mission, so that's what I'll be doing. And perhaps more importantly actually, just getting resources and starting to give all of our operatives all of the decent armor and equipment, because once they can do damage, and in particular if you can kill enemies in one hit, the playing field gets leveled very quickly, and I think the game starts to turn back towards how it's meant to be balanced, perhaps from the developer's point of view. So, we'll be trying to do that in the next part. I don't think this campaign's quite over yet.